Welcome to the new format for the previews. So we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesdays in black, Wednesdays in red, and Thursdays a nice purple/violet color. So we have 3 games on Tuesday, 5 games on Wednesday, 9 games on Thursday. So the NHL doing me a solid and gradually bringing me into the NHL schedule. And previews will no longer be daily. On Friday, the preview for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will go up, and then it'll be Monday and Tuesday together, Wednesday and Thursday together, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday together in weeks going forward. The only reason I'm doing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday now is Tuesday's only got 3 games, so it felt like it was kind of silly to do a preview just for Tuesday. So here we are. So 3 games on Tuesday, starting with one at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 1:30 p.m. Pacific, and it's Seattle hosting St. Louis. Kind of surprised at an early start in Seattle. This is the first of 3 meetings. They'll meet again February 25th as well as April the 12th. So they're not going to see each other for a while. Of the players on the team, Kyrou with the most goals, 31 for St. Louis. Thomas with the most points with 86. And I'm phrasing it that way for a reason you'll see as we go through. McCann, the leading goal scorer for Seattle players, 29 goals. He also had 62 points to lead Seattle. Seattle's going to be looking for more goals this year. And for St. Louis, they'll be looking for a better start than what they had this past season. At 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Florida hosts the Boston Bruins. This is the first of 4 meetings. They'll meet again October 14th. Then they don't meet again until the new year, January 11th, and then March the 11th. Pastrnak, the leading goal scorer for Boston with 47, also led them in points with 110. Sam Reinhart, leader in goals and points for Florida as well, 57 goals and 94 points respectively. At 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, we have the Chicago Blackhawks and the Utah Hockey Club, who are seen as an expansion team. And I point that out only because when you look at stats and everything, they're going to be treating this like first-year expansion due to the way that Arizona was moved to Utah. So this is the first of 4 meetings between Chicago and Utah. They'll meet again February 25th, March 7th, and March the 30th. So after tomorrow, they don't meet again until February 25th, and down the stretch, that's 3 meetings. We'll see what kind of position Utah's in then. Chicago's leading goal scorer amongst players that are on this team, Teravainen with 25 goals. So that's why I'm phrasing it the way that I am. Teravainen was not with Chicago this past season, but of the players on this roster, his 25 goals, the highest from this past season. Connor Bedard had 61 points. The expectation this year is that he'll be above that point per game range. Clayton Keller leading in goals and points, coming over from Arizona, 33 goals and 76 points respectively. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday, 5 games. We have 1 at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, 1 a half an hour later, and then 3 late games. So that's unusual. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Montreal and Toronto. It's not unusual. I'm sorry for putting Tom Jones in your head, but it's just what I do. To see these teams against each other on opening night, it feels like it happens a lot. At least opening night in Canada, right? Because the Canadian teams, most of them in action on Wednesday. So this is the first of 4 meetings between Toronto and Montreal. They meet again November 9th, January 18th, and April the 12th. Austin Matthews coming off of a monster season, which saw him lead the team in goals with 69. He also had 107 points. He's going to look to get himself quite the encore this season. Suzuki, the leading goal scorer and point producer for Montreal, 33 goals and 77 points. At 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins meet for the first time out of 4 meetings. They'll meet again December 6th, February 7th, and February 23rd. Artemi Panarin, 49 goals. He also had 120 points, leader in both categories for the Rangers. On the Pittsburgh side, Sidney Crosby, refusing to age, had 42 goals to lead the team in scoring there this past season and 94 points. So, excellent season from Crosby. We expect the same this year. And then 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, Winnipeg and Edmonton meet for the first of 3 meetings. They'll meet again March 20th and April 13th. So they don't see each other at all for over 5 months after this game on Wednesday. Kyle Connor, the leading goal producer amongst Winnipeg players, 34 goals. Scheifele, the leader in points, with 72 points. Zach Hyman led the Oilers with 52 goals this past season. Connor McDavid, 132 points. He also had 100 assists with that, so McDavid will be trying to record 100 assists again. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific start between Calgary and Vancouver. So it's not surprising that Toronto and Montreal play each other to open their seasons. It's not surprising Calgary and Vancouver do either. Expectations a little different now with these teams. So this is the first of 4 meetings. They'll meet again November 12th, December 21st, and March the 19th. Sharon Govich, who's week to week for Calgary, their leading scorer amongst players on their roster, 31 goals for him. Nazem Kadri, 75 points for him this past season. Brock Besser, 40 goals. He's going to be looking to, maybe increase that total this year. At the very least, get to 40 again, right? JT Miller, 103 points, and he's talking about being a better two-way player. Might hurt his points totals. Listen to him. Odds are his points totals are going to come down this year. The points should come from elsewhere in the lineup anyways. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific start between Colorado and Vegas. The first of 3 meetings. They'll meet again November 27th and April the 8th. Nathan McKinnon, the leading scorer for Colorado this past season with 51 goals, 140 points. Ridiculous season. Jack Eichel, the leader in Vegas for 31 goals and 68 points. Really strong season for Eichel. He's just got to be in the lineup every night. So then on Thursday, we have 9 games. So the fun starts with Montreal and Boston because you go from Toronto to Boston. That's Montreal's way. December 1st and April 3rd are the other 2 meetings between Montreal and Boston. That's right, they only meet 3 times this year. Montreal, I've already talked about their scorers. So for teams that this is their second game, I thought I'd get into special teams. 17.5% power play for Montreal. They're going to want to improve that. 76.4% on the penalty kill. So special teams are going to be a focus for Marty St. Louis this year. On the Boston side, their special teams were quite good. 22.2% on the power play, 82.5% on the penalty kill. They'll look to keep those numbers where they were. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between the LA Kings and the Buffalo Sabres. So will the Sabres be dealing with jet lag? We shall find out. This is the first of 2 meetings. They'll meet again on November the 20th. So the LA Kings, coming off back-to-back games in Quebec City, stay on the East Coast. Moore, the leading scorer amongst their players this past season with 31 goals, and Kempe, 75 points. On the Buffalo side, Thompson with 29 goals to lead Buffalo in scoring, and Dahlin with 59 points to lead them there. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start as well for Florida and Ottawa, as we have 5 games starting early on Thursday. This is the first of 3 meetings between the Panthers and the Senators. They'll meet again February 8th and April the 5th. For the Florida Panthers, their power play was quite good this past season, 23.5%. Their penalty kill, 82.5%. So they'll look to keep those numbers where they were. On the Ottawa side, this is their first game of the season, and Brady Tkachuk, their leading scorer this past season, 37 goals, 74 points. He led in both categories. And anytime you get the Tkachuks on both sides of the ice, odds are you're going to have some action after the whistles. If you want to have a count on how many times Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk interfere with the other team's goalie or just cause trouble around the other team's net, you can try. It ends up being a lot, though. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific start between Pittsburgh and Detroit. So these teams met in the preseason. We'll see how things go in the regular season. They did, right? I think they met twice. Anyways, November 13th and December 31st are the other meetings between these 2 teams. So they'll be done with each other before 2025 shows up. Pittsburgh's power play was the storyline this past season. Not good. 15.3%. Their penalty kill, 80.7%. On the Detroit side, Larkin leading him in goals with 33 this past season. Raymond led him in points with 72. Expectations are Raymond's points totals should just go up from there. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Toronto and New Jersey. So Toronto goes from Montreal to New Jersey. This is the first of 3 meetings. They'll meet again December 10th and January 16th. For Toronto, their power play, 23.9%, led by Austin Matthews, of course. Their penalty kill, not great this past season, 76.9%. They're going to want to improve that. On the New Jersey side, will they be dealing with jet lag? Timo Meier, their leading goal scorer, with 28 this past season, and Jesper Bratt with 83 points led them in scoring there this past season. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Utah. So after playing at home against Chicago, 2 days later they're in New York against the Islanders. This starts at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Utah's power play in Arizona this past season, 22%, and their penalty kill, 76.3%. If you look at the preview on the NHL app, it'll show you nothing for power plays and penalty kill from last season for Utah because, again, that's considered to have been a different team, a different franchise in Arizona. On the Islanders side, Nelson, 34 goals, led them there. Barzal led them in points with 80. One thing to keep in mind, too, is because Utah is being seen as an expansion team, don't be surprised when you see first win in expansion or in this expansion team's history, first And they're going to be talking about their points and comparing them to other expansion teams would be my guess. Going to be a lot of that this season, even though they're not an expansion team. Anyways, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific start between Dallas and Nashville. These games are always fantastic. So with, let's see, that's 6, 7, 8 games on at the same time. I hope I'm able to pay a lot of attention to this one. December 12th, April 3rd, and April 16th are the other 3 meetings for Dallas and Nashville. Again, these games are always very eventful. Johnston, 32 goals, led them in that category, should be in this game, and Robertson led them in points with 80. 2 of the young players Dallas is counting on is, I'm not the only one picking them to win the Stanley Cup, just throwing that out there. Forsberg led Nashville in goals and points, 48 goals, 94 points, and now with the additions of Marchessault and Stamkos, he has some help up front. It should be an interesting season for both Dallas and Nashville. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific start between Columbus and Minnesota, who came into the league together as expansion teams back in the day, almost 25 years ago. October 19th will be the second meeting between these teams. That'll be in Columbus. For the Blue Jackets, Sean Monahan, the leading goal and point producer of players from last season playing on the Columbus roster, 26 goals and 59 points. Monahan's being counted on to play a leadership role and be a steadying force up front. We'll see how many goals that translates to and how many points for him in Columbus. Kaprizov is, of course, the headliner for Minnesota, leading both with 46 goals and 96 points this past season. The expectations, 50 goals. Yep, he can get there. 100 points. Yep, he can get there too. We'll see if it happens this year. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. So 2.5 hours after this game starts, this one starts. So my plan is 4-game board, and then just by itself, I'll have the St. Louis and San Jose. Doesn't make any sense to squash it into a column at the end of a board. So this is the first of 3 meetings between the Blues and the Sharks. They'll meet again November 21st and December the 12th. St. Louis's power play, 18% this past season. Their penalty kill, 79.1%. Not awful special teams numbers, but they're going to look to improve there. And for the Blues, they go from Seattle to San Jose. Not that bad. And, of course, you've got the day off in between. Toffoli, the leading goal scorer amongst Sharks from this past season, 33 goals. He did not score those in San Jose. That's not how I mean that, of course. But he is the leading goal scorer amongst players on the San Jose roster. And points, Granlund leading there with 60. So Celebrini will probably be the number 1 guy in San Jose eventually. But is it this season? We shall see. And St. Louis is a good test for them as well. And the fact that they play again November 21st and December 12th means this is another meeting that'll be all done. This one's done before Christmas. We're not even talking about New Year's with this one. This one's done before Christmas. So let me know your picks in the comment section below as always. Again, I will be previewing more than 1 day's worth at a time. So you can come in and, leave your predictions. Keep in mind that if you predict all 3 days and come back on Thursday and change your predictions here to be 100% correct, it's not going to work. Anyways, but let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And the season is really and truly begun. The Global Series, of course, the official start, but yeah, North American side of the ocean at this point, and this is where the games are now, and should be a lot of fun. And yes, for people who are going to make the comments, I'm not wearing a Teams jersey. For preview videos this year, I'm not going to be wearing team jerseys, and for the really big reviews of like 10, 12 game nights, I may very well be wearing just generic and neutral jerseys for that too. And I picked this Evil Dead one because it is Halloween month. This is another one of those geeky jerseys, and I feel like Halloween themed is the way to go. So don't be surprised if I do it more with other preview videos between now and the 31st of October. So thank you guys so much for all your support as always, and I will talk to you again soon.